Welcome, I'm Lloyd, and this is a special St. David's Day dressing gown diary. Woohoo! So let's take a moment to reflect on round three. Let's start with perhaps some of the less exciting games. Let's go in reverse order. So Sunday saw Ireland take on a rejuvenated Italian side. Ireland pulled out basically their first team, but seemed to have stuttered. They've gone backwards. Indeed, Italy were actually even winning at half-time. Italy looked like they've really progressed. They had some grunt in the pack. A lot of the young players coming through. Conor O'Shea should be pretty proud of how they're progressing, but yet they didn't end up with a win. Ireland had enough to get over the line, but certainly it will raise questions for Joe Smith of where the team's at. Conor Murray and Johnny Sexton just do not look like they're firing at the moment, so that raises questions. The other game saw Scotland visit Paris in the hope that they could find the first win in Paris since 1999. What the hell happened? They were poor. France brushed them aside. Very, very inventive. We saw some French flair throwing the balls around, offloads, lines of attack. It was brilliant to watch. But what we have found now is Scotland team have regressed. They are basically paper thin in the squad. You lose a few players. Now, they have lost a number of players, but ultimately that's what rugby's about. It's about bringing players through, developing a squad so that you can cope with losses. Finn Russell is an enormous loss. So Scotland again, back to Murrayfield, hoping that they can turn over Wales in a week's time, which we all know is unlikely. But the massive game of the weekend! All we heard all weekend was how England, they're in the flow, they're amongst it. Even some of the commentators coming out saying, if New Zealand visited Twickenham this weekend, they'd absolutely brush them aside. The little niggles that came through the weekend to start. So firstly, when England got caught in the traffic crossing the 7 on the M4. They came on Friday and Eddie Jones carried on through the bus. Gatlin, little niggle there. Oh, I told Eddie he shouldn't travel on a Friday afternoon. Ended up taking 5 hours with a 20-minute break. When you're travelling, it's not a great thing. I don't know why on earth they didn't go by train. Next thing you've got coming up. I don't know whether England have believed the hype. The difference is, I suppose, when you take out... Why had England played well in the first two games? Let's just talk through that. Well, the first thing is when they played against Ireland actually have come out slowly. They've not played well in the Six Nations. They've regressed since the autumn internationals. They also had Robbie Henshaw playing at 15. He is a centre. He is not a fullback. So the kicking game looked good because he was out of position. Against France, the same thing. Huget was playing at fullback. Half the time, he was nowhere near in the Blackfield. So again, the kicking game looked good. Against Wales, you had Liam Williams at fullback, who is world class. You had George North and Josh Adams completing the back three. They worked incredibly well together. So the aimless kicking, perhaps not aimless, that's a little too harsh. The kicking game that worked well against Ireland and France did not function against Wales because of the strength of the back three. There was also more pressure put on Ben Youngs at the breakdown and Owen Farrell by Gareth Davis. So the kickers had less time. The receivers were of better quality. So the kicking game didn't really work. Why England persist with it, I do not know. It was clear that kicking away possession was going to mean a lot of tackles. Wales were happy to bring the ball back into play. Indeed, in the second half, the possession stats are off the scale. It was something like nearly 70% possession, and territory was very, very high as well. England ended up making over 220 tackles, nearly 120 more than Wales made. So the last 5 minutes turned into a real slugfest where the lactic acid is building up and they're tired. This was the game plan brought by Wales. It was very much a Southern Hemisphere sort of New Zealand type game plan. First half, suck up the pressure. Yeah, carry on. It was good to see England fans in good voice in the Principality Stadium. Lots of Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. But as I heard from a good friend of mine, Tony Hartland, 6 English guys near him had sung that. They'd sat down, sung Swing Low, and then a Welsh guy turns around and goes, "That was all very good, thanks for singing that. What's your next song?" Well, as we all know, England fans don't have another song. That is it. Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. But what it did show for me, the game plan of playing Anscombe and then bringing Bigger on. It's not about the moment of how well you play during the minutes. It's whether you win the match. And ultimately, this game plan of bringing Anscombe off, hooking him off, and bringing Bigger on to close the game out worked perfectly. The other thing that I thought was excellent to see from a Welshman's point of view, Corey Hill's try. That is the I'd put that down as the best try that Wales have scored in maybe 20 years. The reason being is this. Firstly, every single player on the pitch touched the ball through the 37 passages of play. Wales are notorious for being good at... You can score good tries on turnovers, but struggle when the defence is set. What this showed, though, is they moved the angle of attack backwards, forwards, and the last passage of play, when they'd really run England ragged, resulted in bigger, long pass to George North. He tied up the defence, bigger... Josh Adams cleaned out, Bigger picks up, beautiful pass to Corey Hill, who then crashes over. The atmosphere at that point, the Welsh fans suddenly found their voice. For the last scrum that resulted in Dan Biggar's crossfield kick to Josh Adams, all you could hear was, "And we was singing hymns and arias." So England got sent back over the bridge, tail between the legs. See what you can do next time. But not without a little barb from Gatland as well as the in the post-match interview that you may or may not have picked up. He pointed out, yeah, well, you know, we knew we were a different animal. It wasn't going to be like the Italian game, and we were pretty confident that England wouldn't perform as they haven't done in these big matches against Wales. That's a little jib just going forward for the World Cup, because there's every chance that England could front up against Wales in the quarter-final, and he'll happily remind them of what happened. Ladies and gents, this is Dressing Gown Diary over and out. There's no weekend this rugby, but enjoy your time, and we'll come back with a preview with the boys who are desperate to get involved with the preview for next weekend. Catch you later.